Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlin Caimano. I am the Chief Investment Officer at Bliss Point Media. I am joined today by Catherine Kalin, who's the Director of Growth Marketing at Zola. And Zola has been a long-term client of ours. They were one of our very first movers in streaming, and they've had a lot of success in the channel. So Catherine was gracious enough to join us today and talk a little bit about their experience. So we're going to be a little bit more structured. This is the agenda we have for today. I'm going to take you through the streaming landscape, what's going on, why do we care about it, and then we're going to talk about measurement. So measurement is a major hurdle in this space. We're going to talk about how Bliss Point approaches it, and then I'm going to hand it over to Catherine to talk a little bit about Zola's journey. All right, so this is a look at some of the macro trends we're observing in the environment right now. And many performance marketers are focusing a high concentration of their budget on Google and Meta. Now, oftentimes we'll see up to 80% of a performance marketer's budget in these channels. And these are fantastic mediums. They're excellent performance drivers. But that type of concentration, that high concentration, can be risky. These are monopolistic auction environments, and brands are subject to higher and higher CPMs in order to execute. And we can see that here. We saw a 33% increase to the CPM on Meta from Q1 2021 to Q1 2022. Now, that type of price increase is going to have an unavoidable impact on your outcomes as a performance marketer. Same with Google here. We saw a 12% increase to the CPC in a year's time, the same time frame. So part of this is pricing increase. Part of this, another factor are privacy-related changes. So we saw iOS roll out the app tracking transparency function last year, and that has had a major impact on the ad effectiveness of platforms like Meta. Now, couple that with visibility. There's very little visibility in these markets. They are called walled gardens for a reason. You can pull back very little raw data, which makes it difficult to measure, pull into your marketing mix model, and dedupe across your portfolio. So really all of this, we have privacy-related changes, we have pricing, we have competition in the landscape. All of this is calling loudly for portfolio diversification. Do not get me wrong, these are amazing platforms and incredible performance drivers. But in this market, diversification is key. And for us, for our brands, streaming has really been that opportunity to diversify. And you can see this graph behind me. It's looking at time spent on linear television and streaming video. Now, that purple line is streaming video. We see tremendous growth, and that has really allowed streaming to become truly a competitive performance marketing channel. It's estimated that there will be 2.15 billion subscribers of OTT in 2025, users of subscription OTT, in 2025. It's a major number, but it's about half of internet users. So there's still a tremendous amount of room for growth there. Part of this growth that we're seeing here has been impacted by this pull away from linear television. So we see users flocking away from this space. And the pandemic exacerbated that, but this was a trend that was already in motion. You can see how far back that really started. For us, today we're talking about chaos and complexity and change. And 2021 was a year of irreversible change in this space. We saw for the first time this core demo, adults 25 to 54, big demo, time spent converge. Now, that is never going to revert back. We still utilize linear. It is an excellent performance channel, an excellent reach channel, but this trend is going to continue and we'll see this viewership erode. So what does that mean for us as marketers? What does that mean? Really, what does this mean about this space? And I can tell you what it means for publishers. It means that they are all working furiously right now to ensure that their streaming products have a very sound revenue model and that they're able to leverage them in the environment. And we felt that. We felt that at the upfront presentations that just concluded a couple of weeks ago. Streaming was the focal point. It was the major focal point. There was very little There's very little focus at all really on the primetime schedule, which was which is where the presentations previously focused. Now, this is taking a look at the streaming space, which previously really favored these ad-free behemoths. So we have Netflix, we have Amazon, but that share, that ad-free share is dwindling, and it's dwindling very quickly. We see two of the biggest pure play services, Netflix and Disney Plus, now rolling out ads in Q4 of this year. They're moving to this subscription tier structure. And Netflix has given themselves a little over a quarter to implement their advertising platform. And this is a major undertaking with a very, very short runway. And it really just speaks to the importance and the necessity of advertising in this space. Users are open to ads. We have seen this time and time again. They're actively seeking out ways to engage in this space more efficiently. And the average American has 4.7 streaming services. So it's gonna start to add up, and they want to leverage, they want to be AVOD consumers. So we've seen they're estimating that this number, the AVOD viewership number, will move to 164 million by 2025. These are big numbers in the streaming space. So the growth is there. There's tremendous, tremendous growth here. And the question really becomes, what do we do with this? And my answer to that is, if you're going to do something in streaming, do something now. So we are in a very interesting marketplace. We've had these highs and we've had these lows, and I think a lot of us are feeling some of this. And last year was a very tight market. It was, the demand was palpable. Prices were increasing. This was a seller's market. And this year, inventory is flowing. This is a buyer's market. And a lot of this has been impacted by some of the major brands and brands across the market needing to pull back spend. They are citing inflationary pressures and supply chain issues and low consumer sentiment. And this has had an impact. And networks do not want these impressions to go unsold. They have been working with us, and we've been able to negotiate some of the most efficient CPMs that I have seen in years. And it has allowed our brands to more aggressively invest and take advantage of that. This is, my apologies. This is something that we are really able to work with our brands on, and will help them take advantage of this if you're able. So our advertisers, if you're able to withstand some of these pressures, this is the best time for a performance advertiser to invest in this space. It's an incentive-based market. It's like having a 40% off coupon and deciding, no, I'm gonna wait and pay full price. So this is the time, and we're now negotiating our upfront partnerships with the networks, which means this is gonna bode very well for us next year. We're talking through deal terms and pricing. So, as I said, this is a very great time for a marketer. This is a very great time for an agency to push investment. And I'm sure you're kind of saying, okay, Caitlin, we get it. We should spend. We hear you. Of course, you're going to say that. So why isn't everybody jumping into streaming? Why isn't every brand moving into this space? And the answer to that really is measurement. A lot of performance marketers, digital marketers, are accustomed to a click stream. You have an impression, you have a click, and you have a result. And this is something that makes video very difficult. You do not have that click stream, and you have multiple screens involved. This is something that linear marketers have grappled with for decades. There's that lack of click stream data. And at Bliss Point, what we do is work with our clients to outline what are the outcomes that streaming should drive. Is it a visit? Is it a registration? Is it a conversion? And then we use our graph-based technology with one-to-one attribution across devices to gauge our performance in accordance with those outcomes that we defined. So what do I mean by one-to-one attribution? We start with our clients, and we leverage our graph-based technology, and we have access to digital signals within the impression destination data. And then we work with our clients, and we have access to those same signals in their client data. And we leverage our technology, our graph-based technology, to identify matches. It's really one-to-one. And when we're doing this, we really lean into transparency. That is the differentiator here. We are passing back our data to the client. We are strongly encouraging that they leverage incrementality testing and then passing that data back to them. And now we are very focused on privacy. So everything is encrypted and hashed and in accordance with the regulations of the market and aligned with our network partnerships. But that transparency allows a client like Zola, allows our clients to validate everything we're doing externally, to say, okay, this is working, everything that we're doing. And it gives them the confidence to go and secure $40, $50, $60 million budgets and really scale this channel. So this is a really big piece. This is something that is very difficult in this space for many advertisers, understanding measurement and feeling confident in your measurement. And we lean into that transparency in our technology as well. So this is a look on screen at our web-based client-facing app. It's available 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and it's updated daily. We are able to look at performance on a network level, of course, but we're also able to break this out by device. So our desktop's working, our CTV's working, our Android, iOS. We're able to break it out and show you performance and optimize by creative. So we can do that at a campaign level, turn those knobs at the campaign level, or we can do it at a network level. So if creative A is working really well on NBC, we're gonna lean into that. And a lot of our clients have been able to use these insights to actually inform their next iteration of creative. So there's a lot of granular targeting in this space as well. You can think of it very similar to digital media. We have demo targeting available with age and gender and income. We have geo-targeting available many times, many networks down to the zip level. We have third-party behavioral targeting and contextual targeting available, and we are able to leverage first-party targeting. So our clients' first-party data to retarget, to create custom audience segments, and to suppress. So if your users have, if a user has already converted, we can suppress those. We do this largely in the programmatic space to keep it efficient. So we really want to avoid premiums and can do this in the programmatic space. So something we've seen is that our clients, streaming really is a even more powerful tool when used in conjunction with other tools. So it's sight, it's sound, it's motion. It's a fantastic complement to some of these less rich forms of media. And our clients, time and time again, are seeing these synergistic effects in the data. And you have access to this in the app, the synergistic effects between the campaign. So our clients have seen, the median client on our roster has seen a 13% boost to their results when we observe multi-touch effects. And again, that's at your fingertips in the app. The 75th percentile sees this 23% boost. And we've seen TikTok in particular, when seeded by awareness on streaming or TV, really feels that impact of the synergistic effects. So what we've also found is that higher reach media, we tend to see even stronger synergistic effects. And at Bliss Point, we take what we call a branded performance approach. So it's a strategic combination of performance-based media, which is much more focused on user acquisition and efficiencies, and brand-based media, which is going to really focus in on brand health metrics and on reach and awareness. And these two together can be incredibly impactful. This brand-based piece, maybe it's a show sponsorship on Hulu, or an integration with IQ, or just a partnership with HBO Max, or a potential launch partnership with Disney Plus in Q4. These things are going to be more expensive, but you're going to see this incremental reach, and you're going to see a really strong synergistic effect, both within your own campaign and within your marketing portfolio. So we spent a long time actually working with Zola through this approach. There really is a balance, and you want to find that right balance in doing this. So I think that's a great segue to hand it over to Catherine to take us through Zola.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Caitlin. I'll introduce myself again. I'm Catherine, the Director of Growth Marketing at Zola. Excited to be here to share with you guys today our journey on the platform. So if you're not familiar with Zola already, we are a digitally native wedding planning platform. So since our founding in 2013, we've helped over 2 million couples plan their entire weddings, starting with their engagement through newlywed life. So they can really do pretty much anything on our platform, from booking local wedding vendors to creating a free website, building a registry, and much more. But we're here today to talk about our streaming journey. So I'll take you back to 2017 and kind of walk through some of what was in our minds at that time. So our partnership with BPM began in 2017, which was when we really started to think about expanding our mix beyond social and search. So we were in a very similar position to what Caitlin described, of really being kind of confined to the walled gardens and very last-click measurement approach to scaling our business. From the very beginning, we shared a lot of our concerns about venturing into streaming with BPM, and the way that they had approached issues with us and kind of thought through some of these challenges from the very early days made it felt like they were just a very natural extension of our own internal marketing team. And their technology made understanding attribution, even within our larger marketing mix, feasible, and made us comfortable ultimately taking the leap into streaming. So we had a couple primary goals that we were focused on. The first was to diversify our channel mix. Based on what I just said, we were pretty kind of concentrated to some kind of last-click social and search platforms, and we wanted to kind of future-proof our overall mix and reach couples where they're spending time outside of just those two platforms. The second is to reach an incremental audience. So a little bit hand in hand with the first, are kind of limited in how many eyeballs you're reaching within just kind of social and search marketing. And we wanted to reach people that were not familiar with us yet. And then lastly, we wanted to make sure that we were continuing to access efficient CPMs as we scaled. Efficiency was then and continues to be a huge focus for us, and so that was something that was very top of mind as we started thinking about streaming, which in our minds is much more kind of premium space. So initially we weren't really sure whether streaming could actually deliver on these objectives. We had a couple of barriers in our minds at the time, including just creative costs. So we had been used to developing assets just for primarily for social first, and immediately thinking about, well, do we need to unlock a much higher production value to enable success on streaming? And is that a barrier? We also were just concerned about the media costs themselves, not having been, being a kind of young company without a ton of exposure to the space. We were anticipating CPMs in the $30 to $40 range, hugely expensive compared to some of the other placements that we were in. We also expected that we would need to be making significant upfront commitments and be sort of locked into some of this spend and have to spend several $100,000s to really start seeing results. And lastly, the biggest hurdle was really measurement, which we'll talk about more today. But with connected TVs and a number of different devices involved in the journey, we knew that measurement was going to be more of a challenge than what we were used to. And not being able to track that last click just in the nature of the way people consume content and react to it in a streaming environment was something that was really top of mind for us, thinking about moving into the space. But in reality, we had a really positive experience and were able to unlock a lot of growth very quickly. So a couple of things that just corresponding to the points on the previous slide, we were able to start from a lot of our social assets and repurpose those, build upon that creative based on some of the quick learnings that we were getting in the BPM app of what was succeeding and what wasn't. And we were able to consistently iterate and improve our creative over time with fairly low production costs. Media costs themselves were actually much more reasonable than we expected. The BPM team has been, really worked hard in terms of negotiating great competitive rates, which initially enabled us to see success on a sort of evergreen streaming approach, but has also in more recent years enabled us to unlock some really splashy premium opportunities that we, in 2017 never probably would have considered. Additionally, the commitments are very short term compared to what you might expect, especially on the linear side with upfront commitments. We tend to not have contracts longer than a couple of weeks, so we are able to pivot and continue to be reactive as a business to our performance needs. And then lastly, measurability. We'll focus on this a little bit more, but measurability has really been the key to our success in this channel. we've partnered very closely with BPM and leveraged their proprietary methodology to have user-level attribution in the streaming space, which is crucial for us to be able to kind of use this app on a daily basis, which we do, to understand which specific creative assets are working best, which networks are working best, which creative assets are working best on which network, because oftentimes that story is different the more granularly you look. And so that's been really pivotal to our success. Taking a slightly deeper dive into measurement, there are a couple different buckets that we're really focused on. So the first is incrementality testing. Coming back to our original objectives in this channel, we wanted to make sure that we were hitting new people and driving incremental conversions. So incrementality testing at both the network and platform level has been really instrumental to validating this strategy, and something that BPM's been a great partner on. And it's something that we've been doing continuously. So we, as recently as last month, conducted incrementality testing that showed over 150% incremental conversions with a platform that we've now been on for 5 years. So continue to see really strong performance there. In terms of data transparency, that user-level attribution is really key for us. We're able to kind of re-ingest the attribution that BPM's technology is enabling, and we can then track users on their journey from when they maybe saw an ad several months ago and weren't ready to kind of get engaged and start planning their wedding. Now we know that they have, and then we're able to track their journey as a Zola couple throughout the full arc of realizing their revenue, which can be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from when they sign up. The last bucket here is custom analysis. So as I mentioned, BPM has really been a key partner for us and an extension of our team. They've continually helped us tackle tough business questions. So they've helped us with all sorts of ad hoc analysis, like looking at creative wear-in, creative assist effects, campaign decay over time, conversion latency, frequency, diminishing returns on frequency, really kind of anything you can imagine that we would ask for, they've been a partner in helping us achieve. So largely due to this rigorous measurement that we've have in place, we've been able to make some really significant strides just from where we started in just streaming video. So we've been able to introduce and layer on more targeting tactics across both traditional streaming and programmatic. We've diversified into new streaming mediums like audio, which includes both music and podcasts. And then we've also been able to layer in some of those broad reach premium buys that Caitlin was mentioning, like HBO Max, sponsorships on Hulu. We've also done Olympic streaming buys, The Bachelor streaming buys, like plenty of big splashy opportunities that we wouldn't have expected to be able to afford probably a few years ago, but that have also driven performance. So what you're seeing here is we've seen an 85% lift in response rates for viewers who have been exposed to both our branded and performance ads. So I'll take you through a little bit of the creative distinction in a second, but those splashy opportunities overlaid with our sort of evergreen, more product-focused and conversion-focused strategy has been really successful for us. We've also been able to continue to reach even more new eyeballs and incremental audiences with this strategy. So being in some of these premium placements has unlocked over 50% net new audience reached in our most recent campaign. So I want to just take you through 2 examples of what we're talking about when we're talking about sort of brand focus and performance focus. So this first ad is an example of one of our more evergreen, direct response focused streaming ads. So it's really taking you on a full walkthrough of what the Zola platform has to offer, much more product focused, much more about us. We tend to run a bunch of 15s and 30s, either focused on an individual product deep dive or something like this, which is more of a walkthrough of the entire suite of products that we offer. Probably skip. Okay, there we go. So this example, on the other hand,
We'll note these videos do have sound, so
they do have sound.
when they're running in the wild, they run with sound.
So here's an example of what we ran in one of our more premium placements. So you can, without the sound, get the sense that this is much more about the couple than it is about Zola, much more about driving awareness of the brand, which is better suited for some of those flashier placements that I was talking about. So the goal here is really to drive a broader audience to see something that is relevant to them, that resonates with them, and drive more of a kind of more emotional connection to the brand than just driving the conversion, being as product focused as possible. So So yeah, helpful contrast just to see what it means kind of for us to bring to life the branded performance approach. So getting to the point of developing ads like this has been really like a culmination of a journey with Bliss Point, and something we're excited to be able to share. So pass back to Caitlin to close us out.
That's great, and I have 7 seconds, so we're gonna do this quickly. So this is just a quick takeaway slide to really summarize all the things we talked about today. The channel is cost efficient. We can oftentimes achieve a sub $10 blended CPM in this channel. Data transparency, it is what we are about at Bliss Point. It is a very transparent channel. We really strive to make that, to keep that at the forefront of everything we do. Experimental design, you have the ability to run always on experimental design testing. Granular targeting, of course, is available, and then the brand and performance synergy is something we can offer as an agency to really help you hit your core metrics in both a branded performance, a brand environment and a performance environment. So that's it, everybody. I hope this was helpful, and we will see you out potentially at the coffee area. We'll be around for 15 minutes if you have any questions.